Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. The updated and expanded second edition of my book, The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments, is now available. Readers can expect to march with Arnie's Army at the 1960 U.S. Open, relive Jack Nicklaus's remarkable 1986 Masters win, and be amazed by the Tiger Slam. The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments. Pick it up where fine books sold, including BarnesandNoble.com and Amazon.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, weightlifting fans and sports fans. Welcome to another edition of No Nonsense, Old School Weightlifting History. You can also listen to my podcasts and read my articles on yesterday's sports on the Sports History Network. My name is Mark Morthier, and I'm joined today by Dr. Conor Heffernan, who joined me once before. And with the Summer Olympics just around the corner, we're going to go back in time and take a look at the 1968, 1972, and 1976 Olympics. I don't know if we'll have enough time to cover all three today, but we'll give it a try. Welcome to the show, Conor.
No, thanks for having me back on, Mark. Glad I was invited back for a second chat because it's exciting, especially as I say, weightlifting is right around the corner. I know COVID pushed it a year further, but it really feels like Tokyo wasn't that far away. So it's kind of like a nice treat to have another Olympics coming so soon.
Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at the 1968 Olympics, which were held in Mexico City. They were actually held in October, which is a very late start for the Summer Olympics. And the reason it started so late is because they were trying to avoid Mexico's rainy season. Apparently in September, is a very rainy season. September, August, very rainy in Mexico. So actually the late start turned out to be a blessing because from July 26th until October 2nd, there were student protests and political unrest. And that would have caused quite a distraction, I'm sure. So it turned out to be a good thing that it didn't start until the weightlifting started on October 17th. And as you know, Conor, in 1968, there was only 7 weight classes. We had the 56-kilo bantamweight. We had the 60-kilo featherweight, 67.5, which is lightweight, 75-kilo, which is middleweight, 82.5. That's light heavyweight. 90 kilo is middle heavyweight. And anyone over 90 kilos was considered a heavyweight, which is pretty light for, if you weighed 200 and if you weighed, like 95 or 100 kilos, that was pretty light for a heavyweight.
It's a pretty big difference.
It's a very big difference. So the first weight class, the gold medal winner in the first weight class, the 56-kilo class, and for those that don't know kilos, which is mostly the Americans, that is 123.4 pounds. And I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing some of these names, but Mohammad Nasiri of Iran won the gold medal in that weight class. There was the second place winner, Imre Foldi of Hungary. They actually both totaled 367.5 kilos was the total for both of those lifters. But as you know, at that time, the tiebreaker was who who weighed in at a lighter body weight. And so Foldy was a slightly heavier body weight, so he had to settle for the silver medal. Interesting fact here is that this lifter from Hungary, Imre Foldy, he also won a silver medal in the 1964 Olympics. Now, this name I cannot pronounce. Heinrich Trebicki, I guess that's it. Heinrich Trebicki of Poland took the bronze medal, and 3 years later he won a silver at the World Championships. So is there anything you would like to add about that first weight class there, Conor?
Well, I think, probably one of the important bits is you see the fall, I suppose, of Alexei Volkanin, who was a Soviet weightlifter who'd won the gold medal in '64 Olympics for this weight class. And for reasons that have sort of never become immediately obvious to me, he did fall out with the Soviet selectors sometime in '66 or '67. Now, he had won a gold in the European and even in the World Weightlifting Championships in '66. Obviously, there was no World Weightlifting Championship in '67, but he just sort of disappears in '68. Now, he's still competing in Europe and in the Soviet Weightlifting Championships, but he just sort of phases out from the category, at least at an Olympic level. And I suppose then, apart from that, Mohammed Nasseri, who you mentioned, IWF Hall of Fame, set a record. I think it might have been in the clean and jerk or the snatch. I think it was a clean and jerk, which wasn't bested until the 1980 games. And this is sort of the start of his, his legacy or his lineage. He doesn't win another gold medal at the Olympics. He'll get a silver in '72 and a bronze in '76, but he'll win, I think, maybe the next 5 World Championships, throw in a couple of Asian Games as well. It's like an incredibly dominant weightlifter, and one then who subsequently has been recognized in the IWF Hall of Fame.
Oh, he had an incredible career, tremendous career. So,
yeah, and sorry, just one last bit. You mentioned the weight disparities
right
between them. Supposedly, Nasseri was 300 grams lighter than the man who finished second, Imre Foldy. So
right, very
pays to dehydrate yourself.
Very small difference in body weight, and I do hear that many times. That I myself, from the years that I competed, I always made sure not to eat breakfast, because usually the weigh-in would be in the morning, and so I would skip You always want to weigh in as light as possible, because you just never know if there's going to be a tie. So moving on to the next weight class, which is the 60 kilo class, and that is 132.3 pounds. We have from Japan, Yoshiba Mayaki. I'm probably really butchering these names, but I'm doing the best I can. I don't know if you're better with pronouncing these names than me, but
my Japanese is sadly not not where it should be. But yeah, we have the two Miyake brothers.
That's right, the brothers, and Yoshibu won the gold medal. He had a total of 392.5 kilos. Yeah, he also won the gold medal at the 1964 Olympics and a silver medal at the 1960 Olympics. And he broke 20, from what I read, he broke 25 world records during his career. Now, our second place winner from the Soviet Union, again, another difficult name to pronounce, Dito Shanzi. He actually did not have that much international competition experience. He won the silver medal. And then, as you mentioned, the brother of the gold medal winner, he won a bronze medal at the 1965 and 1966 World Championships. He won a gold medal at the 1969 and 1971 World Championships. And did you want to add anything to that? Yes.
Well, we've already mentioned the brothers. I suppose the only thing to mention about the gold winning medal is obviously his very distinct style of lifting. He was known for using a sort of frog style, so his heels would be together and he'd spread his knees outwards with a very wide grip on the bar. So it became known as the Miyake pull, if anyone has ever come across that name. So this was sort of like a very iconic way of pulling from the ground that later becomes immortalized in his namesake. So you have the interesting element of the two brothers, which does happen occasionally in weightlifting, but not maybe as much as you'd expect. And then you have the Miyake pull, which I'm not fully versed in weightlifting. I don't have a huge amount of experience, but certainly something that I was taught. So that's kind of a cool point to that is, you have this sort of heels together lift or a distinctive way of pulling from the ground.
Yes, I think there were several copycats when he started doing that. Several other lifters tried it and must have had success with it, but I don't know if anyone's actually doing that in today's lifting.
No, I think it's an old breed. It was taught to me as a drill, more just to help with the snatch rather than this is what you do on the platform.
Right.
But, for anyone who's wondering, that's where it comes from.
I never tried it myself. I never tried it. Now we move on to the 67.5 kilo weight class. That's 148.8 pounds. And we have Waldemar Bazanowski of Poland. He won the gold medal with a total of 437.5 kilos. That was an Olympic record at the time. And he also won a gold medal at the 1961 World Championships. He won a silver at the 1962 and 1963 World Championships. He won a gold medal at the 1964 Olympics and another gold medal at the 1965 World Champ. This guy's had quite a lot of medals. 1966, he won a silver at the World Championships. Whoa, what a career. After the 1968 Olympics, he won a gold medal at the 1969 World Championships. And silver at the 1970 and 71 World Championships. This guy had a very long career. Broke 24 world records in his career. Quite an amazing career from this lifter from Poland.
Yeah, and on that, obviously, he has many lives, I suppose, within weightlifting. You've already mentioned sort of the raft of golds and silvers, no bronzes, which is an important thing to say. But he'll go on. He'll be the president of the European Weightlifting Federation in the late 90s. There's a poll sort of around the end of the 20th century where he comes in third behind Naeem and Imre Foldi, who we've already mentioned, as some of the greatest weightlifters, like lighter weight weightlifters of all time. So incredibly successful athlete, really highly regarded, and then obviously, goes on and is very important in the administration, of weightlifting.
Right. Okay. Now we're looking at second place goes to Parvez Yair of Iran, who won a bronze medal at the 1966 World Championships, won the silver medal. And the bronze medal went to Marian Zielinski of Poland. Zielinski also won bronze at the 1956 Olympics, gold at the 1959 World Championships, bronze at the 1961 and 1962 World Championships, gold at the 1963 Worlds, a bronze at the 1964 Olympics, and silver at the 1965 and 1966 World Championships. Is there anything you want to add to that, Conor?
No, I mean, really just Marion, I suppose, like an incredibly accomplished weightlifter in his own right. Goes on, becomes a coach in Poland for several years, sort of wraps up. I think he's a 7-time Polish featherweight champion as well, internally. Just an interesting individual. He joined the army in 1950, and that was sort of when he really got exposed to weightlifting and weight training, considering he was born and he sort of was exposed to weightlifting at the age of 21, and then is competing in the Olympics, in 1934. Like, that's quite an impressive path, considering how young people tend to specialise in those, Iron Curtain countries during this time.
So we're looking at the 75 kilo class. That's 165.3 pounds. We have the gold medalist from the Soviet Union, Viktor Karantsev. He totaled 475 kilos. That was an Olympic record. He won a silver medal at the 1964 Olympics, gold at the 1965, 66, 69, and 1970 World Championships. Masashi Ochi of Japan won a bronze medal at the 1964 Games, and this time he won the silver. In 1969, he won a gold medal at the World Championships. And the bronze medal went to Hungarian Karolai Bakos. The American lifter Russell Knipp finished in fourth place, just 2.5 kilos behind Bakos of Hungary. So again, we had the gold medalist Viktor Karantsev, another guy who won a lot of medals and looks like he had a pretty long career. Is there anything you want to?
Yeah, I think the inclusion of American lifters is really interesting there. Obviously, we're now in this seismic shift within weightlifting, where what had previously been, decades of American dominance, you were seeing emerging nations, so especially the likes of Iran, coming forward now with very accomplished lifters. Soviet Union obviously is now becoming more and more dominant. Really, any sort of communist country like the likes of Poland, Hungary, Bulgaria, this is where the sort of power balance in weightlifting is shifting. And we think previously talked about, Mark, in a different episode, the sort of drought in American weightlifting from the golden age to the next serious medal, and you do get these sort of half chances. Russell Knipp finishing 2.5 kilos behind third place. Like, you have some US lifters who are really still part of the pack, but then you have others. Fred Lowe is in that division as well. He's a US weightlifter. He finishes 8th. So, you are starting to see maybe a bit of a disparity emerging between US weightlifting and, say, communist / emerging nation weightlifting, which I think is an interesting sort of broader narrative in the sport itself. Obviously, Victor, who you mentioned, incredibly accomplished weightlifter, wins a slew of medals. That's about 18 world records between 64 and 68. So, like, it's a very high standard and high quality. But just for me, the fascination in this is where the US finished, because this by 68 we're seeing the decline in American weightlifting really viscerally now when you have these great new champions emerging from Europe and further east.
Boris Zalitsky of the Soviet team won the 82.5 kilo class, that's roughly 182 pounds, with a total of 485 kilos. Vladimir Belyaev, another Soviet lifter, took the silver medal with the same total of 485. The 485 total was a world record, but Belyaev lost the tiebreaker due to slightly heavier body weight. Belyaev also won a gold at the 1966 World Championships. The bronze medal in this Olympics went to Norbert Ozemek of Poland, who won the gold medal at the 1965 World Championships.
And I think the story of this division centers, for me anyway, around Boris, who, he takes up weightlifting in 57. He's only selected for the Soviet national team in 67, where he wins his only sort of Soviet title as light heavyweight. He's then the 68 Olympic, World and European champion. And then he'll go on the following year to take bronze at 69 World Championships and silver at the 69 European Olympics. Or not Olympics, but Championships rather. But it's this really fascinating moment where you have someone coming into that Soviet setup so late, having this stellar season, this 1 year in 68 where he sweeps the board, and then sort of falling down where he'll win a couple of silvers, another bronze, he'll win the Soviet Cup, he'll set 2 world records by 70. Like, his weightlifting career is effectively finished by 76, but you could argue it sort of finished before then. Like, he's never going to reach that high point again. But, like, this is the trickery and the mastery of the Soviet program during these decades, where you have people punch through for a year and then seemingly fall away. And I think there's something to be said about the strength of those sort of programs where you're one and done with your gold medalists, like, where you tend to see great empires rising and falling is when it's the same lifter from the same country every year. Like, the truly strong programs have a Boris who they drop in 68, you'll never see him again on an Olympic platform.
Okay, so we move to the 90 kilo weight class, that's 198.4 pounds. We have Carlo oh boy, this is a real tough name. Kangas Nima of Finland. He sets an Olympic record with a 517.5 kilo total. To this day, he remains the only Finnish weightlifter to win a gold medal in the Olympics. He also won a gold medal at the 1969 World Championships and a silver at the 1971 World Championship. In that one, 1971, he dropped down to the lower weight class, 82.5 kilo class. Quite an accomplished lifter. He broke 16 world records in his career. And, Finland was not known as a powerhouse in weightlifting. Silver medal went to another Soviet lifter, Jan Tolts. He won a silver at the 1969 Worlds and a gold medal at the 1970 Worlds. He won both of those medals. He won in the new 110 kilo weight class. And the bronze medal went to Marek Golab of Poland, who also won a bronze medal at the 1966 World Championships.
Yeah, and this is very much the heavy hitters are coming to play now, for want of a better phrase. Jan, who you mentioned, who obviously finishes runner-up, incredibly powerful and strong athlete. Like, he's someone who, I think he might have been the first middleweight heavyweight lifter to break the 500 kilo barrier.
Yeah.
Obviously that's across snatch, clean, jerk, and military press, but still, this was the sort of monumental moment in weightlifting, earning the title of the best Soviet athlete of the year for 6'7", which, given the strength of all of the Soviets had, like, that's an incredible feat. The 72 games at a higher body weight, he'll complete a military press of 210 kilos, like, really, really powerful individual. Carlo, who you talked about, first Finnish man to win a gold medal in weightlifting, he's talked about, there's a great interview with Bud Jarniger where he talks about, being able to press 180 kilos several times before the games, being able to power snatch 150 kilos for reps, and being able to snatch 165 kilos. But he talks about going to the 68 games and noticing that Jan was, he says, burning like a candle, and I knew, quote, how nervous both Johansson could get by previous competition. Both kept complaining about how bad the food was, that he had diarrhea, and at that moment I realised I could grab victory like a ripe fruit from a tree, which I just thought is such a beautiful moment. But there's a great shot, and I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but certainly I'd seen it there before, where Carlo completes the snatch, sets a new world record with 158 kilos, and the camera pans back, and you just see a Finnish fan like furiously waving a flag in the audience, and you can get that sense of like how unique and how different this was for him. And he was someone who sort of cut his teeth against the likes of Jan Tezatos, Bo Johansson, Guizo Veres, like all of these incredible weightlifters over the 60s and 70s. And this, like, expected, it wasn't a shock necessarily that he won that gold medal, but I think people were really surprised by that victory. So, like, it was, there was an excitement to it, which you don't always get. Again, obviously for the audience listening to this, you did have two US weightlifters in this, Phil Grimaldi and Bart Bartholomew. I think Phil finished 7th, and then Bart finished maybe 9th in this division. My one terrible fun fact is that Phil became a bodyguard for Twiggy, who's a model known over in England. So it's the extent that I have to there.
Right. Some interesting facts there. Okay. Now we have the final weight class, and the gold medal goes to another Soviet lifter, Leonid Zabotinsky. His total was an Olympic record, total of 572.5 kilos. Zabotinsky also won a bronze medal at the 1963 World Championships, and he won a gold medal at the 1964 Olympics. Also won gold at the 1965 and 1966 World Championships. He broke 19 world records in his career, so another very successful lifter.
Someone who Arnold Schwarzenegger said was one of his idols growing up.
That's right.
Schwarzenegger's a great quote about him, says he kept a photograph of him over his bed because he was extraordinary and a form of inspiration. So, like, just an incredibly powerful athlete. His death was mentioned by the New York Times, so he certainly had a world renown and a world fame. This was a time that I don't know if I don't think it's necessarily the same in the sport anymore, but like the heavyweight division in weightlifting used to be akin to almost the heavyweight division in boxing. This is where you saw the really big hitters. This is where you saw the really amazing things happen. And he was certainly part of that mystique, you know, someone who could break world records, was internationally known, was physically large and powerful. Because as you said, like, this is the over 90 kilo weight class. But he was someone who weighed in at 163 kilos for that game. So, like, I know you said at the outset of this, Mark, you know, like, there's only 7 divisions, like, it's very sort of quaint, but, like, if you think about it, imagine being 100 kilos, 10 kilos over the limit and going up against someone who's, you know, nearly twice the weight limit, or nearly twice the cutoff, like an incredibly large athlete. And as a very accomplished, had won a gold medal at 6'4". Tokyo Games had won, or went on to win, 4 World Weightlifting Championships over his time, and then several USSR, Soviet Weightlifting Championships, which in and of itself was kind of the equivalent nearly sometimes of winning the Europeans. Incredibly powerful, well-known athlete who, as I was Arnold Schwarzenegger's idol. Can't be doing too much wrong if you're inspired Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, a lot of people don't realize what a big fan of Olympic weightlifting Arnold Schwarzenegger was. And that Zhabatinsky is a legendary name in weightlifting. Now, in second place, we have a lifter from Belgium, which is certainly not a country known for producing great weightlifters. We have Serge Redding. Serge Redding won the silver medal, and he also won a silver medal at the 1969, 1970, and 1974 World Championships. And Redding has the distinction of being the first man to snatch over 400 pounds. So is there anything you want to add about Serge Redding, another very popular name in weightlifting?
Well, I think it's just it is funny, that popularity, isn't it? Because obviously he's not someone who won a slew of, you know, gold medals. I think he only won gold medal in his entire career, which is the European Championships. Obviously only one finished, you know, in the 68 Olympics. Had obviously participated in 3 games, admittedly, but like an incredibly popular weightlifter, super heavyweight. Again, had that sort of mystique. You know, at his best, there was a 400 pound snatch, 502 pound press, could squat 615 pounds, front squat, back squat 705 pounds, deadlift 771 pounds. And I think most of us would probably know Serge through sort of the early 70s against Vasily Alexiev, where they're going for that world record in the clean and press. That's certainly my introduction to Serge, was through sort of his rivalry with Vasily. So it's funny, you almost expect that career to be a lot more successful. Now, admittedly, he did die in his early 30s, supposedly of a heart attack or some other disease while he was in the Philippines. But, like, a very strong man, probably didn't get the medal finishes that his strength, you know, should have gotten him.
Right. No, that's true. For someone that was the first man to snatch over 400 pounds, you would think he would have won more gold medals than he did. But, and as you say, unfortunately died at a very young age. And another interesting thing about Serge Redding is the way he was built. I believe he was only about 5'6" tall, and weighed at least 140 kilos. He weighed over 300 pounds, and if you look at pictures of him, I don't know how he could ever find a pair of pants to fit those legs. The legs were just enormous. Okay, now in third place we have the only American who won a medal in this Olympics, and that is Joe Dube. I don't know if it's pronounced Dube or Doobie. I think it's Dube. He won a gold medal at the World Championships. I believe that was the following year, 1969. He won a gold medal at the World Championships. And he and his teammate, Bob Bednarski, are the last American male lifters to win a gold medal at the World Championships. And another interesting thing about Joe Dube is after a 7-year absence from competitive weightlifting, he entered the 1979 World's Strongest Man competition and placed 7th.
Which is pretty decent going, I would say. And, Joe has a really fascinating background. So he was the first American teenager to clean and press 400 pounds. Over his entire career, he set 12 American records and 6 world records. His best official lift was a 463-pound press, 369 pound snatch, and a 475 clean jerk. So the really interesting thing, there's 2 interesting stories about Joe, because I know we need to start wrapping up. The first is he took up weightlifting when he was 14. He weighed 135 pounds and used weightlifting to help him stop smoking. Right. By the age of 16, he had totaled 635 pounds in a 181 pound class. So you can already see his weight begins to jump. In high school, he was credited with 10 and a half seconds 100-yard dash. So incredibly quick for his time. But the amazing thing is, there's a story about his early weightlifting stardom. And I'll read the quote here. In 1964, I went to my first Olympic trials, but 3 months before I'd been hit by a car. If I hadn't gotten injured, I would have been a shoo-in to make the Olympic team that year. I got hit at Milligan's Drive. I was goofing around. 2 girls were driving. I got down to challenge them like I was in a football lineup and charged towards their car. The driver panicked. She hit the brakes or the gas instead of the brakes. The car shot off and I jumped, but it hit my leg and knocked me into a big plate window. Glass all over me. One piece went deep into my ankle and they rushed me to hospital, so I learned a good lesson. But obviously he goes on, goes to the Olympics in 64. He doesn't go to the Olympics in 64. Takes a break, comes back in 68. Managed to get a podium place. So the 7-year absence and then returning World's Strongest Man is one of many fascinating inroads that you could find in his career.
Yep, absolutely. Interesting, a lot of interesting facts there you provided us with. We'll just take a final look here. We'll look at the team standings. The Soviet Union came in first place with 3 gold medals and 3 silver medals. Poland placed second with 1 gold medal and 4 bronze medals. And Japan placed third with 1 gold, 1 silver, and 1 bronze. So,
and that's just reinforcing what we talked about, Mark. The shift in weightlifting. And this is really going to be the tenor of weightlifting for the next several years. I mean, the US is just so funny to see them finishing 8th in that table versus, say, 64, where they get a silver and a bronze, so at least they have something. And then, in 60, the US have a gold, 4 silvers, and 1 bronze. So you can see they've gotten progressively for the worse as time's gone on, for want of a better phrase. And teams like the Soviets have continued to finish in that top medal place. And that'll be the flavour of weightlifting for the next decade and a half to 2 decades. Will be Bulgaria, Soviet Union, Hungary, with the likes of Poland and other countries sort of coming up and down at various points. But the future is very much communist countries in weightlifting.
Yep, absolutely correct. So that's going to wrap it up for the 19th. I know you have to get going, Conor, so that's going to wrap it up for the 1968 Olympics. And the next time we speak, we'll look at the 1972 Olympics in Munich, Germany. Thank you for your time. And we'll see you next time.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much, Mark.
Oh, you're welcome. And we'll see you next time. Okay. Thank you. God bless.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com. Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, aka the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.